Hello and welcome to the Futures Functional Podcast. I'm your host Sam Waite and this is
my coach Ben. Ben Alden.
And today on the show we've got Mike Palmer. So I'd explain Mike Palmer as a real life superhero. Basically he's in the special ambulance service and he saves people from ridiculous places. Some of the stories he's told us when we met him with Joe, weren't he?
I've only obviously met him once, but I clicked quite well with him because obviously I've been in the emergency service before as well. So hearing some stories from the kind of medic perspective was interesting, and seeing some of the situations he's obviously dealt with which often are more extreme because of the sector he's in was interesting. So yeah, he's an interesting guy to say the least.
And the other reason why he's a superhero is because he's ridiculously strong even after his injury.
Yeah.
And the way he looks like Superman, doesn't he?
Does. Yeah, he actually does. Got a bit of a look at Clark Kent, actually.
Yeah,
so I'm a bit jealous of, to be honest.
We'll just jump right into the interview now, and we'll be on afterwards. So, first question, Mike. Who is Mike Palmer?
So if people don't know me, I started my kind of CrossFit journey down in CrossFit Plymouth back in probably 2009, 2010. Whilst doing my degree down there. I was working in a gym. One of the guys who I was working with at the time, James Bish, who was one of the kind of managers at this gym, he basically came in one day and said, "Have you heard of this thing called CrossFit?" And I was like, no, what is this thing, CrossFit type of thing? And the next minute we were doing kind of handstand push-ups against the wall and trying to do kind of grace with these kind of plastic weights. And then before I know it, he left the gym and he opened one of the first UK affiliates. And then from there, really, then it kind of blossomed from doing more kind of like bodybuilding while you're at uni. Like, so as guys do, like we all do the typical kind of bodybuilding, and we kind of see this CrossFit. It's a bit kind of crazy, a bit kind of hard work on the lungs, and from there did more and more. Got involved with CrossFit.
That's perfect.
Basically my background is swimming. Did a lot of surf life saving, which is basically more to do with kind of swimming, running, board paddling, ski paddling, sea swimming, and then from there kind of got that my competitive edge, where I think it feels it helps a lot of CrossFit athletes having a good kind of sport background.
Okay, cool. So what is it you do for a job?
Work-wise, I'm a full-time paramedic. As you know, Sam, you've kind of got me up today. I'm in the middle of 4 night shifts. So that means I'll be starting every night at 18:30, and then I finish at 6:30 every morning. From that, then I'll have obviously 12 hours off. I'll be back on for 4 in a row. Full-time paramedic with the London Ambulance Service.
Night time's an absolute killer, yeah.
But it's okay. At least you kind of get to come home at kind of 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning when everyone's going to work. I'm going back to bed to sleep all day, so that's a bit of a positive, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to look at the bright side, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really important for your job for you to be really fit, isn't it?
I would say there's a mixed bag of kind of like fitness levels in the ambulance service and across the UK as well. In all fairness, it's well known, it's well documented that shift work is very bad for your health. However, when you do shift work, you choose to have those kind of carby meals, those sugar meals, because you're so tired, your body's craving kind of sugar and energy, and that's why you probably, a lot of shift workers have really poor diets on night shifts just because of that. And then because of that, you have the whole thing of like obesity, the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol kind of comes with it, and potentially diabetes. But then from that, I feel that having a good diet through my night shifts, keeping hydrated, really, really helps. On the flip side, we do a lot of manual handling, so a lot of kind of picking patients up either from the floor or from a bed to another bed, or a bed to a chair, carrying people down the stairs, and we do carry some quite heavy equipment as well, especially in the role that I do.
So some of the stories you've told me, I'm sure we can't mention them on here, but you have to do a lot of a lot of carrying and a lot of manual work. So yeah, I'm sure it's very important. So what are you most well known for? Would you say?
I think I'm most well known for kind of being on the CrossFit kind of circuit in the UK for a number of years. I think, always known as being quite a big, heavy hitter with the big weights. I think I'm probably well known for always kind of having quite a good kind of Olympic lifting technique, a big snatch or quite a large clean and jerk. So being quite good, reasonably good at the weights, really, quite the heavy barbell. However, since back in March last year, I tore one of my bicep tendons, and then from there, for the last kind of 10 months, I've been kind of documenting my journey of how it was, how it has been, how it was through the NHS, and how physio was through surgery, and now where I am 10 months down the line.
So you've been documenting that on your website, haven't you? Do you want to tell the listeners of what your website is?
Yeah, so www.mikekpalmer.com. To be fair, slightly not as updated as I want it to be. So I did the recovery process from the beginning, from finds out I hurt myself and showing the video of me kind of snatching and hurting my arm, all the way through to about kind of 12 to kind of 14 weeks of the recovery. So if people don't know, you've got your bicep tendon, your bicep, which is your two muscles, bicep brachii, and they have two tendons connected to your bicep, your long head and your short head tendon. Your short head tendon doesn't normally rupture because it sits somewhere else below the humerus. And into the kind of scapular kind of joint, but the long head of the bicep tendon sits over your top of your humerus, around your labrum, and then sits in your kind of glenoid tubercle, which is kind of where it's kind of the anchor site. And because it kind of where it sits underneath all the other kind of joints in the shoulder, it kind of has a lot of wear and tear, and it can be worn down and overuse. It can get frayed, and then like mine, it ruptured.
Okay, so would you say the reason for it rupturing? Obviously, you said you're well known for your technique on the Olympic lifts and lifting heavy, so your body must be used to it. Would you say it was overtraining or?
I think, if I'm honest, I was quite a bit of a surprise really with when I hurt my shoulder, because I didn't really have any kind of warning signs. I wasn't like kind of fighting through the workout and thinking, I need to stop because of my shoulder pain. I had nothing like that. So I would say that it was more to do with kind of overtraining and possibly recovery. The concept was explained to me that for my surgeon, that one day you'd be kind of doing a training session, you'd climb up a step ladder, and then you'd be scraping away from the top of the ceiling, and then you'd be scraping the I don't know, whatever it was, the ceiling material down, and then you'd have a rest day, and then you'd kind of step a couple of steps down the ladder. And then the next session, you'd take more steps up the ladder, and then more scrapes off the ceiling. And then again, the next session, again, more steps up the ladder, and then more scrapes off the ceiling. And before you know it, you've scraped too much off the ceiling, you haven't taken any rest days, and you kind of haven't stepped down that ladder further enough, and then the whole ceiling's fallen down. So it's the whole thing of the balance between rest, recovery, and making sure you've got a good, well-rounded program, really.
I think especially in CrossFit, the people I've met anyway, especially the top people I've met, everyone just wants to train all the time. They absolutely love it. And I think what you've just said could be a problem for a lot of them, because they're that addicted to training. They want to go hard so much, they want to train all the time.
Yeah.
It's eventually gonna play a part in getting them injured, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a good balance between having a good quality training session and intensity, but it's quality, not quantity sometimes, and that's what I've kind of definitely learned over the last kind of few months really, and going back to enjoying it.
How many times were you training a day when you older?
So I would be normally hitting a an hour or so, hour and a half conditioning session in the morning, and then probably like 2 hours in the afternoon of a barbell training. So only, I will not say only, but yeah, 3.5 hours a day. But that would be only kind of 1 or 2 days a week, and then I'll be going into my 4 night shifts on the weekends. So a lot, to do with, a lot of the CrossFit athletes now, especially all the professional guys, they would do this training, but then they obviously wouldn't have to do, a 4 12-hour night shifts. You still got me, Sam?
Yeah. And all the other work that you do with lifting in your job, that's obviously extra training, I suppose, isn't it?
Well, exactly. But it's this whole thing of like making sure that you're having good enough sleep. It's so important. Like, people spend lots of money on supplements, foods, lifting, gym equipment, programs. However, one of the most important things that we can do as athletes is free, and it's sleep. And we all of us, we're probably all not sleeping enough. But it's easier said than done when you've got other lifestyle. Other things going on in your life, really, apart from training and work and things. Yeah, just all kind of generic, paying the bills, really.
So how's your training differed from when you injured yourself to now?
So just going back to my injury, when I did it, it was during the Open last year in 17.3, which is known as quite a snatch chest to bar kind of workout. Multiple reps of chest to bar and snatches, where the snatches got to quite heavy weights, 120 kilos. Can't remember what it was in pounds, but the snatch reps decreased, where the chest to bar reps increased, but the snatch load increased. And then when it got to the last bar, I'd probably done about over 100 chest to bar pull-ups and probably a good kind of 60 odd kind of snatches. And when I kind of felt, on the second pull of the snatch, I kind of felt a rupture, or not a rupture, like kind of a pop-in tear sensation in my shoulder, and I kind of looked down and I kind of knew that I'd kind of done something, and I noticed it was kind of a bit of a loose, flabby kind of bicep.
Did it hurt?
No, not at all. No, it felt a bit like a dead arm. But the guy said at the hospital, the surgeon said that because I totally ruptured it from the origin point where it kind of sits, all the nerve endings were ripped as well, so that's why it was kind of not a lot of pain, really. So a bit of blessing in disguise. But the reason why you have surgery is, studies have shown that you lose about 21% of your supination strength. So that's you kind of screw into a wall, so that turning of your wrist. And people say you kind of lose about 80% of your flexion of your elbow. Obviously, for us and young guys, still obviously got many years ahead, we want that strength. But if you were typically a bit older, you probably wouldn't have that surgery, just because there's a balance between the surgery pros and cons, and whether you want to go through that and go through the rehab as well.
Okay. So how was your training differed from then to now?
I think I've taken a large step back in my training, as in normally I would really stress out. If I'd been given, 10 sessions to do in a week, if I hadn't done all of them, it would annoy me. It would really stress me out. If I couldn't finish my last Metcon because the gym had closed, that would really bother me. So now I do not worry about that at all. If I go, I'm grateful that I go into the gym and I have a workout. I'm a bit more relaxed about that. I'm not following a program at the moment. The only thing I'm following is Cameron Nickel does all my rowing stuff with me, so he programs with that, and I follow that every week just because it's great to get that kind of baseline conditioning in. And I know that for that week I've got 2 or 3 rowing sessions to do, so I know at least I get that done. I quite easily get that done. So now I probably do a bit more conditioning, but then a bit more kind of bodybuilding and kind of textbook hypertrophy stuff as well. It's not like I kind of didn't do it before. I probably slightly did it, but only kind of now and again, and it's just a bit of an accessory, but when I had the time. But now I definitely focus on more kind of tendon strength and tendon health more than I ever have done before. So definitely more bodybuilding, and just it's enjoying going around other gyms, seeing how other people train, joining with their sessions, and just enjoying training, not stressing out about the next comp or what I have to do in today's sessions or the next days.
I think that affects a lot of athletes is the worry, even though it doesn't really achieve anything by worrying. It does mess with training, and obviously can make you push harder in certain areas where you wouldn't usually do it, and that can be a lead to injury. I think
that's true. Definitely agree with that.
Okay, so what are your goals for the future?
For the future, so short term, I would say obviously working with you guys, Team Totum. So we're obviously really excited to see what Body Power brings this year. So hitting hopefully a team with a couple of the other team Totum athletes. That's a definite must. I think that's down in end of April, isn't it?
It's just the start of May.
So start of May. So definitely thinking about that. Really kind of thinking about like just enjoying training the lead up to that, and having some fun on the competition floor with some friends. Really, always good fun to hitting a team comp. Just slightly less pressure, but sometimes you do work probably even harder sometimes because it's the whole thing of the work and rest ratio is practically 50-50 sometimes. So when you see your buddy kind of working hard, you kind of want to make sure you're working the same amount of kind of intensity. So looking forward to that. I've signed up to another rowing competition, which is called Just Row in Train Manchester at the end of April, which consists of a number of workouts spread over an hour, and they're all scored separately, and obviously top 3 males or top 3 females get the podium. I'm doing the middleweight category, so it's the 75 to 90 kilos. So I'll be hoping to weigh in at 89.9 if I'm honest. I weighed in this morning at 90.9, so I'm keeping an eye on my weight most mornings. So hopefully to get under that 90 kilos will be great.
You can't have much more weight to lose. I've seen the pictures of you on social media.
Well, I got to do it, otherwise I'll be in there with the heavyweights. So I don't want to be doing that.
What's the next weight category above that?
90 plus.
90 plus, so just like everyone over. Okay.
Yeah.
You going for first place?
Definitely, hands down. So apparently there's a Concept 2 bike up for grabs. So donated from Train Manchester. So definitely a large incentive there to do well.
Is that where will that be going? Straight in the ambulance gym, or?
Well, or ambulance gym, or I've got an assault bike at home. So I don't know, I might upgrade and then put one of the bikes in the ambulance gym. But we'll see really. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe hitting some other kind of comps. I kind of really want to do something a bit different this year. I don't want to go to the generic comps all the time, and so I'm definitely thinking about going abroad. For example, I've been eyeing up the Swiss Alpine Battle, which looks like a really, really cool comp to go to, set up in the mountains, be another peer comp. So that'd be cool to do with Simon Greenwood. So that'd be a really nice thing to do. And then again, I know I've signed up to do a PT course. So that's taken a bit of my time out as well at the moment. So I've never thought I'd be a PT or have that on my belt, but I thought, why not? And while I've got some time to do some studying, I'm just sort of signed up to a personal trainer course, and then probably advancing my studies, clinically in the ambulance service as well, which would be nice this year.
Because with the PT course, one of the goals is to own a gym one day, isn't it?
Definitely. I would never say, never, and still doing shift work, in my 60s is not ideal. So I think we need to kind of think about the future a bit, and maybe a bit of an escape, or like a leaving kind of escape route really from the service and something else when I'm a bit older. So definitely on the cards.
Have you seen Sai in Miami?
Yes, I have. Yeah, so he's doing well. Yeah, very jealous. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching the videos and I'm very, very jealous. There's a lot of big names over there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, so yeah, I said to him before he went out, just enjoy it and not too worry about kind of positioning and how they're doing in with the workouts. But I'm sure he's enjoying it and taking it all in.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I've texted him before, so hopefully he'll get back to me soon. So what questions should I be asking you?
So the question could be asking me. So what? Maybe about my diet. People say that obviously they've seen shots with you guys. How lean I look, and how do I get like that?
Because that's consistent, isn't it? Like when I first met you, you looked exactly the same as today.
Yeah, so traditionally, as we all know, that bodybuilders or guys who do kind of cover models or fitness shoots, they'll have peaks and troughs throughout the year that they'll increase body fat to notoriously then cut down for that day. I've never really kind of done any kind of cutting or massing really. Bit of a throwback. Probably people didn't really know this about me, but I did a men's health photo shoot number of years ago. It was a program on Channel 4 of guys how to look good, and part of this episode was what guys do in the gym how they do. So I managed to get on. It got a bit of airtime. It was only probably a couple of seconds or so, but it ended up doing a kind of men's health cover shoot. And from about 1,500 guys, I got down to the last 12, and I had the shoot up in London. However, sadly, didn't make the front cover of Men's Health. So I've always been a bit bitter about that. But yeah, so all I was saying that I've always just done my training and not really worried about cutting. However, probably about kind of 18 months, 2 years ago, it got to a point in my training where, I'm training what I can do and how do I recover better and fuel my training. And this is when I got on board with this company from America called RP Strength. They are very well known in the CrossFit community, especially with a lot of games athletes. They're just basically what I would call it, probably like a group of guys who kind of created these macro templates, and then you'd kind of put in your gender and your weight, and they produce you how much macros you have per day. Very straightforward, but then it made me aware of like how much little I probably wasn't eating and probably not the right foods. So it all goes down the line of making sure that you fuel your training before, and then you really recover from having quite a lot of post-workout carbohydrates, having a pre-workout drink as well, so during workouts, and then making sure you're having your fats away from training, and having good quantities of the right carbohydrates and a good lean protein source. So if anyone is really considering about taking training a bit more seriously, definitely have a look at RP Strength. And if you don't weigh your food every day, you're definitely not following the optimum kind of macro nutrition that you could do. So everything I eat, I weigh. So I know exactly what I'm eating on day to day, and that's probably what's kept me nice and trim and lean, and kind of got back to my muscle mass what I've got now since my surgery. So
how many calories do you eat a day?
To be honest with you, I don't really know. It depends on, because on these templates you have a moderate, a hard, and a light day. So it all kind of varies, but it's all to do with your macros. So, like for example, I'll be eating 4 square meals a day. The food timers are important, and as I said, not to have fats around your training, your carb drinks. But then you could have like more when you increase if you go into a massive tab, for example, your fats would just increase first, and then your carbs. You never increase your proteins to mass. They always stay the same. It's just how we kind of store store proteins and carbohydrates. But even from all this, I feel like my knowledge of nutrition is a lot better, and obviously I look better for it as well.
Okay, cool. And every week on the podcast, we're gonna get the person's favourite workout who's doing the interview. So and give the listeners a chance to do the workout. So what would your favourite workout ever be?
I would say I want to stay away from CrossFit, if I'm honest. So I want to do something a bit kind of easy for guys and girls to do in a gym, so you don't have to go to a CrossFit gym. So I want to say, as long as you've got a Concept 2 rower, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to hit a 2K row.
Okay.
So going back to the CrossFit Games in 2013, they did a half marathon row, which is approximately 21k, but it was scored in two scoring opportunities. The first 2,000 meters was one scoring opportunity, and then straight into a half marathon. Jason Kleeper pulled a 6:21.1 and then did a 1 hour 18 half marathon, and Sam Briggs for the girls did a 7:17 2k and then into a 1:21 half marathon. So they're the kind of the ballpark figures. When I did my rowing competition back in December with the British Indoor Championships, I pulled the same as Kleeper, which was a 6:21. So I'm a bit annoyed that he still carried on pulling probably a 150 or a 152 for the rest of the half marathon. But yeah, I think if you want to be a regional athlete, Cam Nickel from Rowan Wards normally states that you've got to be under 6:45, close to 6:30 to be a competitive CrossFit athlete. For gym goers, I think it's the first time you're going to go for it. I have been helping the guys at work a lot with their rowing, so I've set up an ambulance 2k challenge, and girls have been hitting anywhere from about 8 to 9 minutes. Guys have been about 7.5 to 8.5 minutes. So see what you can do a couple of rounds, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, warm up, and select workout, standard list, and hit 2k and see what you guys can do.
Okay, I'm gonna have a go at that later when I go to the gym. See what I get.
Do it. Let me know how you do.
Yeah, if I'm hitting like 9s, I might not tell anyone about it, but
yeah, that's it.
Nah, it should be a little bit better than that. So just to finish up now, where can we see more of you and find you on?
I could quite do a lot of on Instagram. So Mike K Palmer is my Instagram name, and then on my website. Really, I'm going to definitely start this year increasing my blogs on my website. So definitely keep in touch through there. I'll see you there really.
And we've just released the Future Functional video series on YouTube with
Perfect.
you in, haven't we? So that'll be the other place that we can find you, and we'll put all them links in the bio below. And the ebook's coming out in a few days as well, isn't it? With all your rehab exercises. Yeah,
so they were just the exercises that I did quite religiously for the last 10 months. I think they would be great for people to do. Not obviously if you've gone through an injury, I'd definitely advise you to see a physio or a sports therapist. But these are kind of generic things which really would help your tendons stay healthy. So check them out.
Perfect. Right, Mike, thank you for doing the interview with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
So there we go, and that's a quick basic intro into Mike Palmer and his kind of overview of fitness over the last couple of years. So obviously, Sam, you kind of conducted the interview. How do you kind of think it went?
Like I said at the start, Mike Palmer is like real life superhero. He's got endless things which are unbelievable about him. Like the way he come back from his injury in 9 months is ridiculous. But my instant attraction to Mike and the reason for getting him into Totum was he's had the same journey as us, and I think majority of CrossFitters have had the same journey as us, where they've gone from like bodybuilding style training and then found CrossFit and thought, wow, that looks exciting, that looks new, that looks something different based on performance, and then wanted to move over. And he looks like he's starting to move back to sort of a bodybuilding, CrossFit, functional bodybuilding sort of stuff.
I think he was talking about, so that was when we kind of went down to the box. Yeah, he was mentioning that when we went back there, he was kind of the importance of hypertrophy as well for kind of strengthening his joints. And obviously you asked him as well what he was kind of known for, and he said he was kind of a bit of a lifter, and he obviously looks like that, and everyone's kind of built for different stuff. But I think that's important. I think I seen a quote the other day, and it was talking about lifting and cardiovascular conditioning, and it was about lifting kind of being a long-term investment into kind of strength, muscular development, increased metabolism, and then obviously cardio and conditioning kind of being like a short-term rent. So it's, you kind of put it in, you get good wear capacity from it, you enjoy it, and then what's the other part from it as well? There's a couple of different bits, but it was only like short-term because you only get a short-term kickback from it, and it kind of dwindled quite quickly. So he obviously comes from that kind of background that we're from as well, and where he's looking to kind of, he enjoys the lifting side of it, but then on the same hand, he is a freak because on a rower he's a joke, isn't he?
Yeah, he said in the interview he got the same time as Jason Kleeper, and I know Jason Kleeper had to do basically half a marathon on a row after it, but he was in the CrossFit Games, peaked for it, and obviously he trains like full time. He does and the thing, he doesn't do nights as well, like Mike said, where it's like 4 nights on a run, 12 hours, and then training three and a half hours a day, he said.
Yeah.
It's just he's just ridiculous, which is why he looks like he does and lifts the weight he does.
Yeah, but that's what he was kind of talking about as well, wasn't he, in terms of the difference when looking at training that he does and then comparing to, like, I think he was talking about he's going for a men's health or men's fitness shoot.
Men's health, yeah.
Yeah, and he obviously trains a lot differently to probably most of the guys who were kind of heading towards that journey and that end goal. But it's like we've been speaking about before, in terms of it's just part of the journey, and the end result is kind of the outcome and by the by. So I think he just kind of proves that theory that training for performance and kind of the aesthetics will be a byproduct of it as well, and he's the kind of ultimate prospect of that.
Yeah, I asked Mike about how he eats when we went down to see him in London, and he eats loads, obviously because he trains loads and his job's very active. But one thing he said was, I don't eat to look the way I do, I just eat for performance, and I train for performance, and that is 100% proof that you can train for performance, enjoy your training, just want to get better every single day and look like a men's health model.
Mm-hmm. I mean that's the beauty of nutrition as well. Like I was taken back by how much he eats. Like I think you were saying there's like 4,500 calories a day, and I couldn't obviously he trains a lot and his output's a lot, but then you look at other people like who are on the other side of the fitness industry, like people like Steve Cooks and Ryan Terry and them kind of people, and how kind of low they are on calories sometimes. Like I've seen some of his nutrition videos where he's been like 2,500 and he's a big guy, so it just kind of shows the variance and how much flexibility there is in terms of what they're doing and what kind of works for different people, and there's no like rule of thumb which is correct. There's all kind of differences and variables.
I'd say someone like Steve Cook's definitely bigger than Mike as well.
Yeah, he's massive,
yeah.
Huge.
He's quite tall as well, isn't he? So
yeah, was Mike saying his weight wasn't that into? Was he 90 at the moment? 90 kilograms.
91 kilograms, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure Steve Cook's around like 215 or 210, either when he comes in for shows or when he's not far out. So
yeah,
he's,
so
he's a bit heavier.
Yeah, he's a little bit heavier. The other thing that makes Mike such a freak at training, I don't want to get into calling him a freak like you do, but you literally, I trained with Mike a couple of months ago. It was the first time I've ever met him, and it was me and Mike and Simon and one of Simon's mates doing a WOD, and he wanted to win. When he's got that in his head that he wants to win, I've never trained with anyone who's so intense. I was actually a little bit scared for my life at the time, but he's just got that switch where he can go, and it's been the same with his rehab for the whole 9 months he's been doing it. As soon as he'd pulled his bicep, he was back in. He was lifting tins of beans. He was curling tins of beans for 10 reps, I
remember when
think.
you showed me that video on the phone. I don't know where, if it's on his Instagram page.
Yeah, it's
So if anyone
far
hasn't seen it, it's quite far down, I think, on his Instagram page. But when you see the difference between his arms and what he's doing, how he can develop back up from there, it's crazy, isn't it? And obviously you can kind of relate to injury probably more than anyone. Obviously not to that severity, but it's a difficult journey to kind of go down when you've got a long-term injury that you're trying to come back from as well.
Yeah, Mike's so what's the word?
Focus, would you say? Driven?
Yeah, he's so focused. Which the difference between when I had my injury and Mike had is Mike's willing to put the work in for 2 hours a day, which he's used to snatching 130k. He goes from that to lifting tins of beans for 10 reps. But he's got an amazing team around him because he's in the ambulance service. Every person he dealt with was a top level individual. All the physios he went to were unbelievable. He was in surgery dead quick, where I was the complete opposite. I didn't have that network of people around me, so I was going in like 1-2 hours a night and not getting anything out of it really, because the physios I spoke to weren't anywhere near as good as the physios he spoke to. But the way he's come back is ridiculous. I think the first doctor he seen said you won't lift anything for 12 months, and we watched him lift 120k snatch.
He did a PB when we were down there, didn't he?
Yeah, and that was 9 months. I seen him do 110 the other day, and like no messing at all, straight up.
And that's it. I think it's a massive mental test more than anything, not just like kind of physically where you can push yourself to. Like when you're at that point where you're at like a lowest level and you've been at such a high, it's like I think it's the same as like when it's almost the same as like when footballers like retire from football and they have that kind of gap in between. It's like, what do I do until I can find something else, or what do I do in that time gap in between once my peaks moved? But he's obviously got to get back to that as well. So it's a kind of a test, like when the chips are down, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I remember when I first met him, he said that he didn't want the injury to define him. So he didn't want to be known for someone who was a really good athlete, could lift some really good weights, could compete at a really good level, but he got injured and never recovered from it, which is the reason that he's back.
A lot of people probably don't fully come back from that kind of injury anyway. No. From the kind of research that I've done on it and had a look at it, a lot of people don't, because it is kind of so severe. It's
a mental strength as well, that when he's lifting that 120k PB when we were there, or 115 it might have been, for him not to worry that his arm was his bicep tendon was gonna pull again, because obviously he's had surgery on. I think he said that it's stronger now than it was, but there's always still that thought of what happens if I lift this now and my bicep goes and I've got another 9 months on the shelf.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, like when I broke my leg playing football, they always tell you obviously when it recovers it's stronger, but you still always have that thing in the back of your head of like would it kind of go again? But I think he's obviously a lot more aware of that now since doing it, because he's spoke to someone about in terms of why he did it, and probably like overtraining, he went into that aspect of it. And I like the quote that he kind of went into, where he was talking about the ceiling and the ladder and coming back down and going back up, put another. I really like that quote, and it's something that I'll probably use in the future.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be telling people that and claiming it for yourself, aren't you?
No, but like quote unquote Mike Palmer in there.
Put it on your Insta chat.
Yeah.
He's I think everyone should listen to that quote, especially CrossFitters, because as I said in the interview, I've seen loads of CrossFitters and they train, especially the ones who own their own gyms, all the time, and they're fit, they're so healthy, the joints are actually really healthy, but there's always that one time where it just wears out and it just goes, and it's happened to Mike.
Yeah. I think you've got to have that recovery time, haven't you, more than anything? It's massively important, especially for performance-based stuff. If you're going to kind of grind yourself down, even kind of for like your central nervous system and those kind of aspects of it, it's massive. And obviously if you're in the gym all the time anyway, especially for like owners or other people, or obviously a lot of people kind of look at the big stars who are doing it and they have that time to do it all the time, but they also have that kind of top level of care and like nutrition advice as well. So you're looking at people like Fronin and people like that.
Massages every other day as well.
Exactly. So it's a different kettle of fish sometimes, but I think that's what people look at and like strive towards, is to be in that kind of level, but just kind of duplicating what they're doing on a daily basis.
I'm sure we watched a video ages ago about a bodybuilder, it might have been like Phil Heath or Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman, and he literally said that they got sports massage every week.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. It might have been Jay Cutler. He said he got a sports massage every single week.
You don't realise how much they put into rehab and like kind of maintenance as well of what they're doing. Like those kind of hashtags like no days off and all that shit. It looks pretty and it's good on Instagram, but it's not really relevant to what you kind of want to do or what you want to promote, because your body needs that rest. It needs it to go back in and smash another PB, or to kind of move forward with what you're doing.
Yeah, when you train for strength, like you and Ash done the 5-3-1 WOD.
Yeah.
A few months ago, and we can put that in the show notes at the bottom for people to download. And that was based just purely on strength. And you do your 1 rep max, and 1 week you do a weight, and you might be lifting like 250, and you'd go in the next week, and you'd be 3 days into training rather than doing it on the Monday, and you wouldn't be able to get that 250 up because your muscles are fatigued. Yeah. So imagine if you train every day, which is probably one of the reasons I got into it, because I was training so much. And then it just hit me that, now your shoulders.
I think for a lot of people it's more of a mental thing. They're like, I've got to have a day off, and it kind of throws your routine off, or they don't know what to do. But I think the good thing about that 5-3-1 WOD that me and Ash were working on was, and it's obviously in a lot of people's programs, and if you're kind of not one of those people who likes having days off, doing those kind of deload weeks where you're working at a lot lower capacity really helps you as well, because you're not battering your joints and your central nervous system with lifting heavy. You're kind of allowing your body to kind of have that recuperation before you go into another week again. So I think that's another element of it, just kind of utilising different tools like a deload.
Yeah. I think Mike dropped in the middle, didn't he, that he's coming to Body Power with us this year.
Yeah.
He's going to be in one. He's going to be in one of the teams, and we're fully expecting him to win, aren't we? The pressure's on him now. I know he'll be listening to this. The pressure's on Mike that we were expecting to win, whatever happens. But yeah,
are you saying who he's in a team with?
No, not yet.
Okay. Nearly give that away then.
Yeah, almost give that away. But he's that'll be his first competition back. And it'll be good. So that'll be his first one. He said he's doing the rowing comp, which obviously he's under Cam Nickel now, getting some programming off him. So he's going to go. He's obviously going to improve on his PB that he got, which is even more of a joke. Might get him on the stand and see if anyone in Body Power can beat him on a PB.
I don't think they're gonna, unless there's like 4 people pulling on it or something like that.
A lot of people have been interested in Mike's training and how he got back so quickly from his injury. So we decided to make the Futures Functional video series. So it will have come out yesterday on Totum's page, and it'll be a video on Mike and how he come back, what his training's like. And on Wednesday we'll be releasing an ebook, and it's going to have the training that is the exercises he done over the last few months to get him back to fully fit.
Yeah, I think it's Oscar Wiedendown did a lot of it and filmed a lot of it, and obviously Sam's Hunt obviously edited a lot of it, where he's done some really good work, and it was interesting to see some of kind of the stuff that he utilises, and even some of the tempos and stuff that he uses, and I think it was quite a big opener for me, because I didn't realise until we went down there and we were speaking how much like hypertrophy and how much the like bodybuilding exercise he still does merge with the CrossFit side. So I think that programme will be quite interesting for both sides, whether you're coming from like more of a bodybuilding aspect or more of a CrossFit aspect, and utilising it and using it to better yourself as an all-rounder as well from that kind of programming. What he stands for and what he promotes is functional fitness.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, after you've watched the functional bodybuilding series, Mike's a really nice guy, so if anyone's got questions, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer them if you give him a message on his DMs, slide into his DMs.
He's nice. I think that's he's just a genuine guy, and like every time he speaks, I just makes you kind of smile, because he's just dead open, isn't he? He's a dead friendly guy, and he just loves talking about fitness, and he's really enthusiastic about what he does. So yeah, I'm sure he'd be kind of open to any questions and helping anyone with anything they don't understand, maybe from the book, or just expanding on it as well.
Okay, so last little recap. You can find Mike at Mike K Palmer on Instagram, and I will put his website in the show notes below so everyone can have a look at that. And I think there might be like 1 or 2 gruesome pictures on there of his bicep injury, but yeah, we'll put that in the show notes and you can have a look at your own peril. Mike pulled his bicep tendon and has only been back 9 months. They said it was going to be 12, so if you think you can beat his 2k row time, you're more than welcome to have a try. And tag me, us, and Mike in on Instagram.
What a workout that is to pick, by the way, for the
first one.
The podcast.
2k row.
It just kind of sums up why I call him the freak all the time.
Yeah, he's just an animal, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll speak to you next Monday on the Future is Functional podcast.
Catch you all then.
See you later.